this afternoon's session, I'm sure I don't need to introduce anybody sitting here to Emma Kirkby. She has not merely an international reputation as a singer, she has probably an interplanetary reputation as a singer. And I mean that as a singer in her own right. And I'm happy to be able to tell you that actually that was my experience just a few short weeks ago with the English Baroque Choir. I conducted a performance of the St Matthew Passion in St John Smith Square, and Emma was my immaculate and utterly radiantly beautiful soprano soloist. So, I must tell you that what you're about to witness here this afternoon, there's nothing artificial about this. Increasingly, as part of her work, what Emma really likes to do is to pass the message on. And you can imagine that with a career such as hers, there's an awful lot to pass on. Emma likes nothing better than to work with a group of singers and players and to be able to pass on her experience, her insight, her thoughts about how this music should be performed, all towards a better mousetrap. Actually, the one thing that we can't reproduce here today is that this very often happens on a day when perhaps these people are all working for a festival, or it could be a one-off situation. But the idea is that the work that's done during the day then becomes an extremely democratic concert in the evening, in which no one person receives any more star billing than anybody else. It's a lovely idea, and if ever you see one of those concerts advertised, I recommend it. Do go. So the only thing we can't replicate here this afternoon is the concert, and that's because you've all got homes to go to. But then, what we're about to be treated to now is 4 young stars of tomorrow, and I know that they're going to be stars of tomorrow because they have been touched today by, not merely the tutelage, but by the magic of Emma Kirkby.
Thank you very much. I couldn't resist sharing quite a few songs with you, so I'll try and be fairly economical with what I say, because I want you to hear the beautiful things that happen once somebody is playing these instruments and what it draws from a singer. It's such a special effect. And all these singers have experience in other areas, but when they come to this area, they find a new mode, I think, and it's lovely to see those changes happen. So we start with Lottie. I'm going to spring this on her. Is there anything you want to share with us about this person's song? Why you chose it and what it means to you?
I chose the song because it's beautiful and it's a joy to sing. The piece, it's not immediately obvious what it's about, but the interpretation I've taken is that my lover, we have to part at some point. And so I'm saying I would rather die than get to that horrible pain of having to leave someone who I'm so desperately in love with. Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good start.
Okay.
Which I had rather
start. Thank you very, very much. I know Lottie because Toby recommended her to the present. I've actually heard her sing today. She's terrific. You did right. You've done quite a lot of work with lutes, have you?
No, this is actually my first time working with lutes.
Wow. Well, you wait till you hear her with the smaller lutes. It's as though she's been doing it all her life. Lovely. You've got lots of lovely colours there, which is what really characterises Purcell, particularly by the end, all those modulations. It's just crazy. You're alone, all that. And that's wonderful, and I do agree with your basic premise, this is the love of parting. Yeah. And you certainly say with perfect truth, sure, when you go, my heart will break. But earlier, I love the sort of, I mean, I don't know if it's a man or a woman, I have a suspicion it might be a man, because they say, what is it? For when fate calls you from this place, you go to certain misery. Without me, you really haven't got a chance. you say that before you actually talk about your own heartbreaking. You're very sorry for your lover.
Yeah.
That they're going to lose you. This is such a terrible...
I think I interpreted that as a kind of like for when fate calls one to a certain place. I hadn't thought about it in that way before.
Well, I'm a bit more literal minded. Yeah. I don't think that they use the word you in that way, like we do. No, I think it's pretty direct actually. Yeah. I think this lover says, without me, you.
Without me.
So that's a little clue that we're not. I don't think we should take this song with deep, deep seriousness actually. Okay. The second clue is much bigger, which is the triple at the end.
Yes.
Since I for you so much endure, may I not hope you will believe? You know, I'm weeping so wonderfully. Surely it's about time you gave me a big hug now.
Yeah.
That's what happens with all these love songs. You know, if you weep with enough elegance, then your lover will be completely charmed. I think you found a brilliant way of expressing your feelings, and there's a certain relish in there. So I would love to see just a touch more ego in your performance, actually. Yeah. It's beautifully done, but now just be slightly more steaming and slightly more self-seeking.
Okay.
The other thing I would like to suggest, partly because I'm saying it isn't completely, it's a slightly artificial thing you're doing. So pose it a bit more, use your hands a little bit. Her hands are great, they're absolutely perfect music coach hands, they're doing nothing. But, you know, I'd rather run the risk, actually. I just heard fairly recently, there was a day in Oxford about gesture in the theatre. There were some people doing brilliant things there. And somebody gleefully found this reference to Queen Elizabeth going to what she said was the best sermon she'd ever heard, which was delivered with appropriate gestures by a divine. So the said divine was so pleased with her approval that he gave her a copy of the sermon. Then she read it. Said it was the worst thing she'd ever heard. You know, the hands were expected to be used. We do agree that they shouldn't be inappropriate. But once you let them help you, once you let them express natural things, it's not nearly as embarrassing as you expect. Okay, so let's just see what happens. And then the other thing, the fatal hour comes on apace. You know, if we're going to be a little bit artificial, just, yes, be a bit spookier with it.
Okay.
The rule was eye, hand, word. That was the order. Okay. So it's the fatal hour. Eye line, hand, and then you speak. So you've got to be very brave. Just let your body think the fatal hour. Okay. And the other thing, if you can avoid symmetry, then right
Just
in Then you're saying, which I had rather die than see. Yeah. I think, yes, he gives you a very simple da, which I had rather die than see. And it sounds a little bit too easy, that cadence.
Yeah.
So I think, which I had rather die than see. Die than see. Okay. I would break it up, I would articulate anything just to make sure the then see is not just a cadence, but the second half of what you're saying.
Okay,
Which I had rather die. If you can get your hands up by the heart, more or less, at least one of them.
Right, I've never really done any gesture before, so you have to excuse whatever's going on.
What you did until comes on apace was absolutely right.
Okay.
It was fantastic. So just dare to carry on.
Okay.
Comes on. Can you do that just before which I had rather die in the seat? Can you find it? Comes again, exactly. Comes on. Comes on. Comes on. No, sorry. Comes on. Comes on. Comes on. Comes on apace, which I had rather die than see. For when fate calls you from this place, you go to certain misery. You go to certain. It's very hard to break, the habits. You've done a beautiful job memorizing this. You sing it very well, and you've got a big phrase to come, and so you'd better be supported for it. Actually, your voice would come out just as well if you were a bit more daring.
Okay.
So let's just hammer this one a little bit more. Where should we go from? For when fate calls you from this place. Where is this place? For when fate calls you from this place, from me, you go to serve. Where do you go? Somewhere awful. Okay. So I would imagine the hands would come out in some sort of horror.
Okay, yeah.
For when fate calls you from this place, you go to certain misery. You go to certain misery. The thought does stab me to the heart. It gives me pain. It's coming, but be braver. I mean, stab me to the heart. You've really got to. You've got to. You've got to be simple-minded sometimes.
Yeah.
The thought?
Sorry. Yes.
The thought does stab me to the heart and gives me pangs. No word can speak. It racks me I would say when the hands are up there, not doing inappropriate things, but supporting, I would say the consonants are clearer. I would say that the diction is clearer. Actually, the whole thing is helped because the whole body is expressing the thought. And when this bit is unavailable, when the hands are unavailable, so is the rest of the body somehow. It's all this bit up here is emoting madly, and the rest of the body can't help. So you get better singing if you've got the gestures right. Of course they have to be right, and I'm not for a minute suggesting people should conduct themselves or direct the traffic. You know, that's not what it's just that actually if you stand in front of a mirror, think of the words, see what your body does, and you'd be surprised how effective it can be. Now, let's just go into the finish with the triple, because you've got to be more positive, haven't you? Right from the start. Since I for you so much. I know you're enduring a lot, but we've heard about that.
Yeah.
Now we want to know. We want to know what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
Since I for you so much, for you so much endure, may I not hold your will in me. Since I for you so much.
Sorry, just a little detail. May I not hope you will believe? It's you will believe. I'm not sure someone who doesn't know the text is going to get that. Believe. It's not such an obvious word.
Yeah.
So giving that a b. Will be.
Okay.
Believe. Yeah. So get a good b. You mustn't smile. You can't do it with a smile. You've got to have a good round b mouth.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Since I for you, let's go from there once more.
Since I for you so much, for you so much endure, may I not hope you will believe. Since I for you so much, for you so much endure, may I not
Okay, so now we've really got the most colourful bit. It's wonderful, very personal. So why don't you get your movements even more colourful? 'Tis you alone, 'tis you alone. Really, this is the most embarrassing moment of all.
Okay.
Tis you alone, these wounds can cure, which are the fountains of my grief. Tis you alone, these wounds can cure, which are the fountains of my grief, which are the fountains of my grief.
Well done. Which is the sexiest bit of all, do you think? I think you've just sung it. Well, that's pretty too, but there's... It's down there, surely, isn't it? I think take a bit of time there.
Okay.
Really, really become Delilah at that point.
Yeah.
Tis you alone. And these wounds, so, you know, overdo the wound, which you did beautifully.
Yeah.
Then become sexy after that.
Okay.
Tis you alone, these wounds can cure, which are the fountains of my grief.
Sorry, beg your pardon. Fountain. The b and the f, if you really make them round, they'll keep you in tune as well.
Okay.
So let's just hear that last little bit. Yeah?
Okay.
Which are the f. You put your upper teeth in your lower lip. with the little lute, singing fine nights for ladies. And first I thought he would stand, but actually in rehearsal he was perched on this stool, and it was very nice, and his speech was closer to the lute level. And then we thought it might be all right for the Schütz as well, actually. So he's neither standing nor sitting. You can see what happens. Because this is a sacred piece, it's a different thing. It's a more interior.
It's a lot less sexy than the last one.
Well, yes. That's true and not true, I would say. This is Schütz trying to keep up. This is Schütz, if you like, trying to make up for the loss of the Virgin Mary. I'm serious, because, you know, all those Sava Reginas in Italy, I mean, it's glorious, wonderful. It is erotic. It's wholly erotic music. I mean, wholly with both W and without W. And no, it's spirituality and eroticism sort of together with the Virgin Mary. And when we lost the Virgin Mary in the Protestant Church, what did we do? We needed something to get enraptured by. Well, the name of Jesus was a start. But it is really very beautiful. There's nothing cold.
It's passionate.
Exactly.
Passionate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I did ask him to give a translation, and then we forgot. But you know it's about the name of Jesus, and you can have more later if you like. But let's just focus now, because because of what we were talking about before, I had the advantage from here. I could see at one point when he said, therefore your most sweet and wonderful name, Jesus, I am going to carry in my mouth forever. His hands came up to there. In ore meo. It was absolutely instinctive. And it was so right. It's not in ore meo, it's not that. But they came to his heart. And what actually happened then was also that the singing becomes easier as well. That's what's so fascinating. And so I'd like to try and kill two birds with one stone with this one. You've got that long melisma, which needs, it has to be broken, it have to be little articulations and retakes of breath. There is absolutely no obligation or even achievement in singing the whole thing in one breath. He didn't mean it, I'm sure. It's a journey. You take us through that melisma in a journey. And I think breathe on the off beats rather than on the strong beats. So breathe, that sort of thing. But also, just get the articulation a touch higher, Joel. It's sort of, do I mean that? Yes, if you just say ya ha ha ha, just say ya ha 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 ha.
Ya ha 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 ha.
Yes, that's what's going to work for you. And if your hands, you see if they're up, ya ha ha ha, somehow it works together. Actually, it's easy. You can hold melismas on your hands a little bit, as long as it doesn't get fussy. But it's just to help. I suppose it's like, you know, those waiters, those dumb waiters things. You know. Here you are. Here's my melisma. It does also, I think, when you've got your hands there and the consonants working for you, you're constantly referring to your core sound, and so the articulation is going to find that too. So, in ore mea porta, I'm going to carry your name, is the idea. So, make sure that before you start the melisma, that you make the or, make those rounded vowels nice, which or is a behind, a o, portavo, so behind your tongue is on the a shape, ya o, portavo, and then you've got that resonance right. So that's one thing. Any o or u that you see, really give it the full mouth forward for that vowel, granted that you've got a nice open shape behind. In ore meo portavo. So the o really is a composite vowel, and it happens in the middle of your head, but it has got the a behind to give it depth. So that's one thing, because then you need the best possible vowel. Porta. The I is a slightly hard one for us, actually. To get it exactly right, it's difficult, isn't it? So let's just go.
Would you rather hear this sung in sort of Italian notes or German accent?
I think German's fine. Just one little detail, it would then be Ziebel.
Ziebel, yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. I think that's okay. I mean, Schütz did study in Venice, of course, but then he came back home. So I think it's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just literally go into that melisma and work out how best to breathe it as well.
In eternum, in ore meo
Thank you, I'd breathe a bit earlier. About a beat and a half earlier, and say definitely breathe on the weak beats, yes. Because you can then take a little longer, actually.
Because he's not.
Well, yes, exactly, because you've arrived somewhere, and so the dot. But the beginning was lovely.
In eternum, in ore meo
But I think never panic and never think I must make long phrases. It's not important. It's more the journey, more the interest of carrying us through. What's the other thing I was going to say? Let's go back from the beginning. Yes, maybe there are some phrases people would like to know. So give us the translation quickly, Joel.
O sweet name of Jesus, food for the spirit. For what is more sweetly sung, what is more sweetly heard than the name of Jesus, than Jesus, than Jesus. O name of Jesus, true food of the spirit. In the mouth honey, in the ear honey melody, in my heart joy, and I will carry it for all of eternity.
Yes, so melis and melo,
Yeah.
it's pun really between singing and honey. Yes, it's as close to sexy as you can
That's
get.
quite sexy, isn't it?
And
Actually,
still it's good. So now, just before the oh, just make sure.
Oh.
Yes, make sure there is a very generous breath behind. It's not oh, but oh. What could be more beautifully heard? And I think you could just, not necessarily use your hands a lot, but just be different for different thoughts, if you like. You know, oh, the name of Jesus. What's better to sing? What's better to hear? You've just got to be obviously visualising yourself doing these things. And then, so that's the list of wonderful things that could happen to you. And then when you say Dei Filius, when you said it, this is a very grand fact, isn't it? So it's not just a cadence. I think really a very grand cadence. I mean, a huge fermata in a sense. Dei Filius. And just imagine him up there in one of those Byzantine apses with the Father and the Holy Ghost. You know, that's what you've got to think.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is I know it's supposed to be Protestant, but... for each phrase. I think it's a very subtle thing. You have to be seen to be visualising things. I can't explain how it works, but I knew where you were for each thing. I felt it. But when you get to the Dei Filius, I think the breath needs to be your clearing thing. Come on, Jesus! Come on, Jesus! Come on, Jesus! Oh, he's there, you know, and really the breath. Jesus! And I don't mind breaths being audible. You know, it's part of your rhetoric. Breaths should be things that we feel you're entitled to take. Then we're entitled to take them too. So, let's go for a minute. Just Quam Jesus, I think. Maybe fun glasses.
Quam Jesus, quam Jesus, quam Jesus. Dei Filius.
really picky, I think you just give me a bit of a smile on D. And once you've done that, you've lost a lot of resonance.
Yeah.
Jesus, Jesus, it is a bright vowel, but it's got to be within a huge space.
Yeah.
So try not to give in to the... We all do this so much. We all want to to think of radiant, wonderful things. But if we try and smile all the time, if I try and smile all the time I talk, I can't get any resonance anymore. It's gone. As soon as I relax my lips, I can give you the middle sound. So that's what Joel needs to keep hold of. If there is a smile in music, put it on the back of your tongue, put it between your ears, put it in your eyes, but not in the mouth. Because the mouth just isn't the place for it. Sorry.
Quam Iesus, quam Iesus, quam Iesus, Dei filius, Nomen Iesus, Nomen Iesus, Virus
you're starting from very small, make sure the breath isn't.
Yeah, almost got to say one.
Exactly. Let's just do the last cadence. Because again, it's like there's an exclamation in there. He's leaping up that third, and it is very simple and starting something important, but you need the breath big enough for the whole phrase. Whatever it is. Maybe that is a place for just a little bit of a hand, something. Just something to help the breath. Because you're thinking about him. So I think that wouldn't be inappropriate. In your mouth, but you're really talking about your heart in a sense, aren't you? So I think there I would do more articulation and really let your heart join in there. So just close. That was just what I wanted for the duo. It's great. So in ore meo. The first time it happens, I think.
Yes.
So I mean before portavo. So.
In ore.
Is that right?
That's true, isn't it?
In ore meo
I know one should observe commas, and it's most nice what people do, but in this case, it's a longish phrase, but not too long to do in one breath. And I think Nomen dulcissime. The second time, maybe you might consider not stopping.
Yeah.
And if you don't stop, use the N of Nomen. Nomen dulci. So really the N of the N. Dulcissime. So that N takes you through. Just try it. You can always go back to the other way. Let's just see what happens if this is the second time you say it, and you're going to make it very all one phrase with a tremendous feeling of intensity, but the consonants are going to help you to do it.
Itaque nomen dulcissime in aeternum in odem meum
Thank you. Lovely. What Roberta's singing now is, it feels like something from an ode, and probably is, although in Orpheus Britannicus it just says a single song. It's Crown the Altar, Deck the Shrine. In a countertenor version, it's in one of the odes. If you know which it is, do tell me.
Shrine.
intentional thing. So just allow your that sound. You just don't kind of tip forward from it. Just try it on your yeah. Exactly. Just a little bit deeper, isn't it? Yeah is so useful. It's lucky in English we have a yeah. When I go to Italy and try and coach people, I think gioia is the closest I can get to a consonant, which is a yeah. And of course German is fine because of things like Jauchzet and so on. But yeah is brilliant. Years and years ago my teacher gave me this image. Here is your tongue, big thick root. This is the bit we're aware of here. There are your teeth. Here is the soft palate. And the vowels live just under the soft palate, if you like, where the tongue comes up and over into the mouth. And the vowels, the highest is E, then E, then A. They're just slight differences in height. But the Y is so good because that works this bit. Yi, yeah, ya. Yi, if you feel yi, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yi, yeah, ya.
Yi, yeah, yeah.
Yi, yeah, ya. So
Yi, yeah, yeah.
if your jaw is soft enough, as it were, but it's a very, very important area, where the y is, it's so important for so many things, but especially for finding vowels. And while we're at it, if you go yi, yeah, ya, you want O and O, you hang on to R. Yi, yeah, ya, O. Yi, yeah, ya, O, which is what I was saying to Joel. So, de, it's not E, it's E. If we're being precise, it's E, A, A. And it's that, with sopranos particularly, when you get down to the air, you feel it's got no bottom, there's nowhere for it to sit. Well, never mind, just hang on to the shape, you'll be all right. Now, the bright seraphic, if you give me a nice wet T, this is a fairly new thing I'm onto, which is wet English consonants. We work so very hard to sing in Italian, you see. We try very hard, and Italian's wonderful for Italian music, but when you're in English, if you give the T's and D's that nice wet feeling, it really helps. The bright seraphic from. And the other thing I've been obsessing about recently is k, g, and h, which all live high. It's not g, g, h, it's k, g, h. Now, is it their harmony or the harmony?
Our harmony.
Our? Oh! I saw this.
Unless I was singing the
Ah! Well, that's all right. If it's a diphthong, I'll be happy. Where is it? Yes. Ah, I see. Okay. Our. Ha. And the thing is, what I want you to do is get the h high. What I think, with an H, what is the consonant before and what is the consonant after? The consonant before is a w, our, and the consonant after is a m. So the h has to go between w and m. Our harmony. Our hammer. Our hammer.
Our hammer.
Yes. Our harmony.
Our harmony.
Yeah, so that, because we do tend to think we have to go harmony, and that doesn't help at all. And as for g, don't get me started on when people sing legato, they should have the g nice and high, otherwise they won't have the little vowels in their legato at all. And everybody does follow them for the sake of the vowels. So, cranial to deck the shrine, nice high one. The bright seraphic throng, prepare our harmony. Yes, I think just really enjoy the diphthong, that will help you a lot. To join, that was beautiful. Sacred to choir, that was fine. Was that where you took the...
I got mixed up here. I think, yeah, here, this one.
Yeah, it worked fine actually. You have to really, don't you? Sorry.
Yeah.
Otherwise my first...
Let's see.
Yeah. Yes. You've got to be very brave. Tend to... Give me one of my favourite vowels, which is oo. Tend to... As long as it's got the R behind. Ow, tend to long. As soon as the mouth is legitimately forward on the O and the oo, you get this lovely connection. Tend to long. Tend to long. Without it, you haven't got anything to hang on to. So you might get away with it if you really milk that oo and make the jerk good and strong. Having said that, though, it's a long way, isn't it? Join the I think, just for the moment, kid yourself. It's not a long phrase coming. You're going to keep crescendoing.
I'll try.
And if you run out.
Okay.
All right, where should we go from? Let's just play with that one to start with. So that's the second behold, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Last bar.
Yeah. Behold, the bright seraphic throng, prepare a harmony to join, a harmony to... Sorry, I was trying to do the our ha.
Yeah, it works very well.
Same place?
Yes.
Sorry. Behold, behold, the bright seraphic throng.
It's such a habit we have that, there's a long phrase coming, you better start it gently. But I think even gentle beginnings have to have a lot of fizz. The bright seraphic.
Okay.
And actually, I don't think there's any particular reason to be piano anyway. Behold, the bright seraphic from. So just enjoy the word.
Behold, the bright seraphic throng.
Yeah, sorry. Because of what I was talking about earlier, why don't we try now using your hands? The bright seraphic. Take your hands up there. Bright seraphic. Bright seraphic. If my hands hanging down there, I just find it hard to do. I really do.
Okay. Behold, behold, the bright seraphic throng, prepare a harmony to join, a harmony to join. The secret quite attached to love. Crown the altar, deck the shrine. Crown the altar, deck the shrine. Deck the shrine. Deck the shrine.
Yeah, well done. We'll have another look at that breath because I don't want to ask too much of you. That works pretty well, actually.
Yeah, it was a bit.
I think, really, the problem is it's very beautiful what you're doing, but you're just watching it happen. I think you should be one of the people in the ceremony. You're or giving orders or something. You've got to be more involved. You've got to be in charge of it somehow. This is what we're doing now, folks. We're going to deck the altars. Just get more engaged in it. Because at the moment you just retreat, and I think that lowers the energy too much. So we can be more of a cheerleader now.
Okay.
Let's go from the second time you say crown the altar, so the repeat of the first phrase. How about that? And then when you say, behold the bright seraphic throng, really see them. Point to them or something.
Okay.
And get your hands there early. Because if they just follow at the last minute, it's not going to help you.
So just this, the second time.
Second crown the altar. Am I wrong? Did you say it twice? I thought you did.
The second time's at the end. Yeah. The last bit.
I beg your
It's like
pardon.
A, B, A.
Take it all back. Let's start from the beginning. then.
Okay.
Oh, we must get the hands back to the proper position. So, the bright seraphic, look what's happening, and just build up the excitement.
Okay.
So let's go straight from behold. Because that would just get you a bit more oomph there. And I think, why don't you just read that? The sacred one of those. I mean, it's such a quick word, it's like an articulation. But just be a bit cross with them.
Okay.
Why are they wait? Okay, so let's just do that. Straight in there, maybe? That's the third line of second page to the kind of first one. Let's just say, yeah. Just do a slow staccato. Sharp. Sorry. Yeah, once you've done that staccato, you'll be able to join it.
Okay.
Anyway, that's how we do these things. Thank you very much. Lovely. More what you might be used to if you live with pianos and generally modern instruments. The lute obviously is smaller and quieter, but it carries well, it's clear. So Toby is very kindly going to play both of them for us, and I thought we'd just get quieter and quieter as we went through the day. Learn that. songs in that book are one way or another about her. And this one is number 5. So somebody, it doesn't say for sure, but the way it works with all the other songs and with the timing, it has to be about the Queen, the dead Queen. How does it feel moving on to the Lute after the theorbo?
Fine, yeah, it feels nice. And I think it's nice sitting down as well. It's nice to be able to hear it on the same level, you know, it feels like it's a very group activity rather than soloists standing out in the front. It feels like we're playing together. And,
if I end up in a church where the sight lines are such that my face can't be seen with these English songs I want to communicate to people, unless I stand up, then I just beg for some kind of something for the lute players, to raise the lute player. Some lute players actually play standing up, which is also useful. But generally speaking, I think mouth and lute rows within range of each other is nice. It does help, I think. I felt that as you went through the song, you were balancing better and better.
Yeah, you sort of get used to the sound that's going on.
Yes, I mean, the one thing I would ask perhaps is keep all the intensity. Think of the consonants as being loud when other things aren't.
Okay.
Consonants are always loud. Even when you sing piano, the consonants are actually loud. That's what actually works. Good consonants give you a good piano. Just believe in them. So think of the only loud thing as being the consonant. Me, and none but me. Just try once more. It was very lovely, but by the second verse I really felt Oh, and be aware that the very first bar is kind of homophonic. He's going jump, 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 and you're singing me, and yes, try and get that together.
Okay.
My fatal knell. So really be gently vigorous with it.
Okay.
And let your lips be slightly more rounded for this purpose.
Okay.
Like to sing a song before my death I sing, and yet alive my
register that verb,
okay.
And whatever time it takes, and yet alive, my fatal, you'll still catch up, but we need to be shocked by that word.
And yet alive, my fatal,
no. I think I would gather on the I think I would. Just really, those interim concepts, the ones between the others, they're the ones that always interest me. If you really sit on them and rock on them and use them as hinges. You even crescendo on them, actually, and that gives you the release into the next syllable.
And yet alive, my earth
weighting of the words in the first verse. Where was it? Before my death, before my death, that's right. And then, before my death, and you really settled on the d, and you made it a good thud. Love to die, or something. I think you've got to be braver at the end, do the same thing.
Yeah, it does feel a bit strange.
Just take your time. Don't feel you have to rush at all. Take a breath. Love to die. Be quite rhetorical. Why not?
How long should I stay on the last note? Because in the first time around, it's only 2 beats because you go back.
Yes. I think the end. Absolutely indulge it.
Yeah.
Take a breath.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is an old man singing. I think it's Henry Lee. Can't prove it, except that there are 3 other songs which we know he wrote. They're all tender, courteous songs of worship of the Queen, because he was her champion. First one is His Golden Locks, Time Hath to Silver Turn. The second is Time's Eldest Son in the second book. The third is actually 1610, Musical Banquet, written for after her death. And the fourth, those are the 3 we know. This fourth one, published in the year of her death, isn't identified as him, but the sentiments are exactly right, and the repeated B's, that's his trademark as well. In fact, one of my friends, Anthony Rooley, who's sort of instinctive Renaissance scholar, which means he has hunches which infuriatingly turn out to be true. But he said he's pretty sure that there are bees in Henry Lee's coat of arms, or something. But I don't know. Anyway, it does feel like him. So I think you can be a wise, sad old person. It's fine. Let's just do the second verse.
Like to the silver swan before my death I sing, and yet alive my fatal death I have to ring. Still I desire from earth and earthly joys to fly. Never happy lived, never happy lived that cannot love to die. Still I desire from earth and earthly joys to fly. Never happy lived that cannot love to die.
Do you want to explain this a little bit? Sorry, because
Sure.
Daniel is so special, isn't he?
So this is the composer John Danyel. One of his pieces from a book he wrote, I don't know what year.
1606.
1606.
Wonderful title. Songs to the lute, viol, and voice.
And he actually wrote it in dedication of, or it's all about one of his lute students, or
Mistress Anne Green.
Mistress Anne Green, who he was in love with, but it seems to be an unrequited love.
Probably platonic, who knows? She was only 15.
All right.
It was all legal, but...
But here he's comparing his muse, which we could assume to be her, to the lute. And is this correct, Emma?
Yeah, well, there are lots of musical allusions. He actually borrowed the poem from his brother, Samuel, who was a very highly rated poet, very good poet indeed, and this is a sonnet. So it's Samuel's love song, actually, borrowed by John. And what's interesting is John feels free to make little alterations if he fancies, if it suits him. Which, you know, this was one of the most, he was more famous in his time than Spenser or Shakespeare. And yet his brother thought, well, I think I'll just change that phrase there, it suits me better. Anyway, yeah, it's all about the power of the muse on the musician. And one of the things you do need a bit of warning about, lots of musical terms, which of course you recognise, but when Roberta sings a wailing descant, first of all, the muse, her touch doth cause the warble of the string, which here I yield, sorry, her touch doth cause the warble of the sound, which here I yield in lamentable wise. You get lots of sort of sad cadences there. A wailing descant on the sweetest ground, whose due reports gives honour to her eyes. The sweetest ground is already over by the time you hear about it. It's like Haydn does in Creation. You know, you get your doom, 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 and then it says, that was the horse. So here you've got a wailing descant. As soon as she says that, listen for the ground. It's a very simple one. So there's all those little musical ploys. Anything else you want to draw our attention to, Toby?
I thought I'd just say that the great thing about John Daniel's songs, I think there's several composers who write fantastic lute songs as well as Dowland, but he's the only one I think who writes just as good lute parts, just as sophisticated. I mean, this is a great example, whereas somebody like Thomas Campion writes fantastic tunes, but very simple lute parts that's really up to us to flesh out, whereas here, he's given me a lot of notes to play, and it's every bit as good as Dowland's.
Absolutely. And the gambas will tell you that the gamba parts are also very fine. If you want to add a gamba to it, it's a very good idea as well.
As the lute delights, what else dislikes, as is his art that plays upon the same. So sounds my muse, so sounds my muse.
that, Toby, haven't you? This quite nice. In the book, John actually prints the proper text on the right-hand side and then sets it on the left with his little variations. They're very small ones, but would one of you like to read the poem? Do you want to read the poem?
It's just his version. Their one's not there.
Right.
Oh, sorry, I was wrong.
That's okay.
Oh, you haven't.
No, I think I might have missed out a
Oh,
page.
okay. All right.
It doesn't have any information for me on it.
Okay, page turns are a problem. So, life is a lute, delights, or else dislikes, as is his art that plays upon the same. So sounds my muse, according as she strikes on my heartstrings, high tuned unto her fame. Her touch doth cause the warble of the sound, which here I yield in lamentable wise, her wailing descant on the sweetest ground, whose due reports, and those are little repeats of course, whose due reports gives honour to her eyes. If any pleasing relish here I use, and this little twiddle put in there, judge then the world, her beauty gives the same. Else harsh my style, untunable my muse, hoarse sounds the voice that praises not her name. There's the singer right in the boots there, for the horse sounds the voice. It's fun. I mean, it's really a scherzo, but a serious scherzo. For no ground else could make the music such, nor other hand could give so sweet a touch. Right, let's hear it again.
Like as the lute delights, or else dislikes, as is his art that plays upon the same. So sounds my muse, so sounds my muse.
I say, Robbie's, be careful about the smile.
Yeah.
She's got this beautiful smile that's there all the time. She's also from Australia, and so that's one of the problems, actually. You noticed how many of our young people no longer say "oh," they say "a." My son's girlfriend, who's perfectly brought up, incredibly clever, she's doing a doctorate, she's a wonderful person. My husband was there at breakfast, and she thought he was asking if he would like a taste of something. She was just saying, would you like some toast? Actually, once you hear it, it is everywhere, because everyone's trying to smile as they speak. So we might as well get used to it, because English has now changed. You know, a lot of vowels now have got this extra smile in them, but it makes it difficult to sing sometimes. Robbie knows that, she's great about it, but that's for this one, because it's such a joyful song, you're so enjoying it, you've got to be a bit careful. Yeah. Shift that smile back. But otherwise, that was fantastic. Thank you. If my complaintive passions move, now and our knees must part. Most of the Dowland songs that people come again, sweet love doth I invite, all in the first book. Joyful, gorgeous things that everybody thinks that's Dowland, until they look at Flow My Tears, Sorrow Stay, more. Those are all in book 2, 1600, which starts wholly miserable for the first at least 5 or 6 songs. Towards the end, you get this. And it's thoroughly cheerful. So you've earned it by this time.
Fine knacks for ladies, cheap, choice, brave and new. Good penny worth, but money cannot move. I keep a fair, but for the fair to view. A beggar may be liberal of love, though trash. The heart is true, the heart is true, the heart is true. Though all my wares be trash, the heart is true, the heart is true, the heart is true. Great gifts are guns, and look for gifts again, might rivals palm as treasures from my mind. It is a precious jewel to be plain. Sometimes in shell the orient pearls we find. Of others take a sheaf, of me a grain, of me a grain, of me a grain. Of others take a sheaf, of me a grain, of me a grain, of me a grain. Within this pack, pins, points, laces, and gloves, and divers toys fitting a country fair. But in my heart, where duty serves and loves, turtles and twins, courts brood a heavenly pair. Happy the heart that thinks of no removes, of no removes, of no removes. Happy the heart that thinks of no removes, of no removes, of no removes.
Special plaudits for Toby, because that lute part is fistfuls of notes, actually. It's a real... well done. You balanced it pretty well. I think you could just add one thing. There's an aesthetic they had, which apparently lasted for hundreds of years. So Ellen Harris, I don't know if anyone knows her, she's a Handelian scholar, a Handel scholar, and she's also a singer. And she got interested in reading lots and lots of treatises and so on about singing over centuries, and began to realise that this high notes light, low notes loud lasted a very, very long time. It started in church. It's practical, because obviously if the top line are too loud in church, you really haven't got a chance of hearing the lower parts. So that's where you first see this requirement. But actually it continues. It became an aesthetic pride that gentle high notes were a wonderful thing. So that's not really the aesthetic of the time. So if you just sort of feather off when you get to high notes, that would be really kind to the lute as well. And the other thing, you could just try a little bit more of the consonants being the loudest thing at times. But I did hear Toby pretty well, and I think that little modulation moment when you take time, it works very, very well. The clue is in how some of the cadences are written. We know Dowland was a virtuoso lute player, but even so, you know, he was a practical man. He wanted people to be able to play these pieces. And I think there's a bit of an assumption with fine knacks, which everybody knows and which works well in 4 parts, that you can romp through very fast. Well, the lute part does give you a slightly different angle on it all. And it gives you a bit longer to enjoy the new ideas. So that was lovely. Let's just hear it once more with more feathered high notes and any other inventions you can think of.
Fine knacks for ladies, cheap, choice, brave and new, good penny worth, but money cannot move. I keep a fair, but for the fair to view. Sometimes a beggar may be liberal of love, though all my wares be trash. The heart is true, the heart is true, the heart is true. All my wares be trash, the heart is true, the heart is true, the heart is true. Great gifts are guys, and look for gifts again. My treasures come as trifles from my mind. It is a precious tune to be plain. Sometimes in shell the orient pearls we find. Of others take a sheaf, of me a grain, of me a grain, of me a grain. Of others take a sheaf, of me a grain, of me a grain, of me a grain. Within this pack, pins, points, laces, and gloves, and divers toys fitting a country fair. But in my heart, where duty serves and loves, turtles and twins courts brood a heavenly pair. Happy the heart that thinks of no removes, of no removes, of no removes. Happy the heart that thinks of no removes, of no removes, of no removes.
You did want to, have you done any clever little simplifications there, Toby, which is entirely legitimate, or have you actually played everything?
Yes. I'm experimenting as I went along.
Yeah.
At the beginning I was trying to play everything. It is one particular bar, which is just horrendous, really. So I found works perfectly well.
There's nothing missing, it's perfectly fine. Well, thank you very much, all singers. If anyone has any things they want to say or ask, now is the time. I don't know how much time we have. Yes.
Just to say that when you mentioned about the hands,
Yes.
one thing I would say from an audience perspective, which obviously you know, that's why you're doing it, but you bring us into what you're singing.
Yes.
Instantly, as soon as your hands went down to your knees, we felt like we were being left out. So it made a huge difference as an audience.
Yes. When you're sitting down with Lute, I mean, the stool's a bit of a halfway house, of course. When people actually sit, that men particularly, I find they put their hands on the knees firmly, and they kind of lean back against it, and they go, "Oh, my dears." And as soon as you lift the hands off, you sort of tease them into lifting, everything is much lighter. Because this whole area, there's so much energy there, which gets compromised when bits are trapped. Yeah, I mean, obviously, we know, I mean, I have a friend who does a lot of teaching of teenagers, and she says, look, you've got to be sensible, because when they're young, they have these lovely voices, but they haven't a clue what they're doing with their voices, you know, and you've got to impose some kind of discipline and just keep things quiet and let them concentrate on the voice. But I would love that phase to be over and not lasting a further 6 years. That's my thought. And there's some kind of assumption it's beginning to go. Apparently Amanda Roofcroft did a masterclass fairly recently at the college or somewhere, and one of the people who comes to my Guildhall class has told me gleefully, she says all the same as you. But essentially, for a long time, the assumption has been that singers being prepared for opera, they're going to have to be able to act, they're going to have to be able to, and they'll be taught all that, but mainly they must be nice blank canvases for the producer to put his marks on. And I don't really think that's a good way to develop myself. I think it's a bit of a shame. You want to be flexible, of course, but if you've never engaged with your own body with a song, how can you accept anybody else's ideas? You know, I mean, how can you consider them if you don't know who you are to start with? So I'm just waiting for the time when it's a bit more routine to accept gestures. Of course, there are rules, but they're not that complicated, really. The Baroque gestures were mostly common sense, really. They are just, you know, people, how you ask a question. We still do that. Huh? You know? we use gesture all the time, actually. But for this one, it's quite fun because you're a sort of peddler, aren't you? You sell all this stuff. So I mean, you could make an act out of it if you wanted. Here you are, madam. Here are your pins and points and aces. But it's also nice when you're kind of relaxed and you're balancing with the lute, and it becomes very intimate. And thank you for the stronger consonants, but less around them. That really made a difference. It was beautiful. Thank you. Any more? Yes.
That idea of lifting at the top is absolute inspiration to me, because so often when I'm listening to CDs, I'm reviewing them, for example, there's a point at which the voice suddenly becomes diamantine and hard.
Yeah.
And just if they could just take the pressure off, I really love it.
It's a big issue for tenors, isn't it, Joel? That's the thing. I was in Italy doing a course, and part of that festival they had Così fan tutte, and it was a marvellous, very nice production with a mix of students and slightly older people, and indeed, amazingly, a youth orchestra from Rome who was so gentle and quiet in the pit. It was amazing. And the guy who did Ferrando was incredible. I mean, he was a tumbler, he was fun. Every moment when they had all this endless interplay between them, he was just a joy. Then suddenly he went to the front of the stage and turned into a robot. And he sang, "Una, yes, una," and he was just riveted. And I think he just felt that he probably did that first when he was 18, and he was told, you know, all high notes must be properly supported from the chest and all this, and couldn't conceive of any light high notes. But I just thought, where's this man gone? I got used to this character, and he became somebody else for about 3 minutes. But then I asked, actually, Joel's teacher, Justin, about it, and he said, well, the most important thing is to make sure your producer doesn't cut the recitative just before that aria. because the other side of the recitative in that aria is your laughing aria, which is really hard, and you're exhausted from that, and then the producer cuts the recitative, and then you have to go straight into this seraphic, gentle unare amoroso. So the first thing to do is keep that piece of recitative in there. So I thought that was a useful thing to pass on, and he's probably told you already. But I ended up not long after that coaching an amazing young tenor in Canada, and he's called Isaiah for some reason, spelled Isaiah Bell. He's really, really fantastic. Watch out for him. And I put this question to him, you know, how can you sing that aria and keep it sort of light and gentle without the struggle? And he said, well, that would be cheating to do my high notes mixed in head tone. And I said, would it? And he just mixed it for me, and I thought it was absolutely exquisite. He'd just done 11 of them in touring Canada with the piano and had another 9 to do. Whether he ended up changing what he did, I don't know. But I think he was half convinced. I mean, Mozart didn't expect chested high notes. He really didn't. And especially when it's a love song, why do it? But there we are.
You mentioned, you emphasized that this was very interesting, that smile cannot really be done with the mouth lip because the sound.
This bit, yes.
Do opera directors know that? And if they don't, what can singers do? Because often they're supposed to be smiling while they're hanging on the chandelier.
I think there probably is a way of doing it, and of course the opera repertoire is a different thing. The way that the diction is in opera, in a lot of operas, is different from this. So it is a different medium. I think they managed to make a kind of overall smile, the one in the eyes and everything, but they keep this bit free. They seem to get around it somehow, but I agree with you. I mean, I don't know how you do it either. But it's the tight smile, it's the problem. It's this. My teacher used to say that she thought it was this little tightness at the corners. We all do it when we're trying to get something right. Lute players do it. It's right. You know, she thinks it goes back beyond men. It goes through all animals as well. She says, look at the prairie dogs when they have these dominance battles. The one that gives way backs away. She says this tightness of the lips is a kind of apology. I'm so sorry, I shouldn't really be here, I'm not quite good enough, you know, all that sort of stuff. And so when we're really trying hard, we tense there. And I found this other way. I thought, well, because I was doing it, we all do it a little bit, and I was trying to get rid of it. And I thought, well, I'll send my lips in a different direction, just shot them forward. And that's when I discovered the O and the oo shape, how that really makes a marvellous resonance. But you can't do it for all vowels, but you can have that potential there. Let the lips feel always round and never this one. It is. I think it is some very basic thing we have to try and get past. Looks like we need to get on to another phase here.
So I don't wish to hurry things on, but I wonder if this is an appropriate moment to suggest that you two young ladies might just like to come up on the stage here and join Joel and us to be able to show our appreciation of all your efforts. Yes.